Hello, this is Aaron Whittenberger. I am an instructor at the Business Analysis Knowledge Academy and Vice President of Professional Development for Bluegrass IIBA chapter. Welcome to this session of BA Talks. Our topic today is the question file and how it can be used by business analysts during elicitation techniques to effectively track information as the business analyst learns it. As the business analyst's job is largely centered around discovery of new information, the question file is a very useful tool in tracking that information, the source of that information, and exactly when it was discovered. The question file can be used throughout the project lifecycle, from the very beginning when you're initially engaging into a project and you have to learn the purpose of this project, why it is happening, and the true problem you are trying to solve with this change initiative, to working with stakeholders, discovering new information and what is in scope and out of scope. What are those stakeholders' needs and requirements for this project? And eliciting information and requirements from all stakeholders throughout the project. If you're on a process improvement or process re-engineering project, you can track the information as you learn it about those processes. And at other times, when you are interviewing stakeholders throughout a project, you learn information, and the question file is an excellent tool to track that information, when it was learned, where it came from. The question file can also be used at strategic business analysis level to understand the enterprises, the objectives, the initiatives, the processes that happen within the enterprise, why those processes and initiatives are taking place, and the value that they bring. When you talk to department heads and other people within the departments about initiatives, processes, day-to-day pain points that happen within the department and their operations, understanding at the program level those initiatives and processes that happen within accounting, billing, and other programs within the IT area to bring solutions to those areas of the project, infrastructure, operations, other programs in the enterprise. So many times when a business analyst begins to elicit information, they start with the question, who do I need to go talk to? And I feel they need to take a step back from that question and first understand, what is it that I don't know? What do I need to learn? What information do I need to progress forward? And then, who knows that information? That'll lead you to, who do you need to go talk to? Who are your stakeholders for a project? And you document all of this in this question file. Within the question file yourself, you will give each question a unique identifier so you can talk intelligently with others, more likely business analysts, other business analysts that are on the project, about each of the questions and the answers within your question file. You would document the date that that question became relevant or known to the business analyst team. Then document the question itself. And you want to format this in a question that needs to be answered. You go and document who knows that information. Where do I need to go to get the answer to that question? Then you, of course, document the answer itself, and you want to date the date that you learned the answer to that question. So a format of question file is very similar to this. The value that a question file brings to business analysis and elicitation activities is that you can track information as you learn it through the life cycle, the source of that information, exactly when you learned it, and it helps with other documentation, as well as documenting additional stakeholders that you need to go talk to. As you identify the information first and make sure you get all the information that you need to learn, and then it may help you identify additional people that you need to go talk to. And as you are doing these interviews with stakeholders throughout the project lifecycle, it helps keep those discussions on track so that you don't go off on the tangents and discuss things that are not necessary. Make sure that you get all the information that you need from particular stakeholders. As a stakeholder's name pops up more and more times in your question file, you can group those questions together that you need to learn from a particular stakeholder or group of stakeholders. So as you go to talk to them, you've got your information that you already need to learn from that group or that stakeholder, and it may cause fewer follow-up questions and follow-up sessions with those stakeholders. But also adapt to the interview. As you're learning information in the interview, adapt your interview questions to what you've already learned. So don't use a question file as a checklist, that these are the questions I'm going to ask, and if I get answers to all of these questions, I am successful. That is not necessarily the case. You may not get through all of the questions. If you learn something early in the interview with a stakeholder or group of stakeholders of an area that was unknown to you previously, then explore that. This happened to me very recently, where I was interviewing a stakeholder about a particular process she does, and we had a list of reports, and we were going through those to determine the value and why she uses those, where those reports come from. And we had copies of samples of these reports in the list of the reports, but in the interview, she starts talking about other reports that we previously were unaware of. So we went down that rabbit hole for a few minutes and discovered where those reports came from, what those new reports were, and it exploded into a whole new area of the process that she undertakes that we were previously unaware of. And it would have been a disservice to understanding the process in its entirety if we did not go down that rabbit hole and learn about those. And it caused that we will have to have a follow-up interview with them to fully get through the process. But it was time well worth spending. And that is adapting the interview to the information you were learning during the interview. It also helps to understand the information you may have missed. If you have many questions that don't have answers within your question file, then you have to go back and get the answers to those questions. And that helps you identify that information and make sure that things do not fall through the cracks. It helps you get down to true problem or the needs of your change initiative or your initiative that you are undertaking, whether it's a project or a program level initiative. So you can ask those probing questions and set them up ahead of time so you know the information that you need to understand. And the question file is not really a deliverable that you will deliver to stakeholders in that. Maybe you're the business analysis team if you're in a large enterprise will discuss these questions amongst yourselves. Otherwise, if you're a lone business analyst on your projects or your change initiatives, then it's just a way for you to track the information when you learned it and the source of those informations for yourself. So I hope you have found this useful. I hope you will give the question file a try and track information as you learn it throughout your change initiative. Thank you for tuning in to this session of BA Talks. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you will give the question file a try. Thank you very much.